Welcome back to Toriano Knows Ball. I'm your host, Toriano. Thank you guys for joining me, and you're going to hear some great Jaguars content today. Today, we're going to be diving into our pre-free agency, essentially mock of what we'll see the Jacksonville Jaguars do this offseason. The tampering period will begin tomorrow, Monday, and I'm excited to really give you the list of guys that I have either heard some things about or I expect for there to be interest and what I think the Jaguars will do in terms of the contract negotiations, what the projection numbers are for these specific players, and how they'll help this team in terms of either depth or being a key starter on offense or defense. So we're going to go ahead and dive into more so listing the names that we're going to talk about here today. The names that I have a total of 8 names. They're going to be on offense and defense, are going to be wide receiver Cooper Kupp, if released, safety Trevon Moehrig from the Las Vegas Raiders, offensive tackle Justin Skule from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, cornerback Paulson Adebo from the New Orleans Saints, defensive tackle slash defensive end Bobby Brown III from the Los Angeles Rams, Azeez Ojulari, the edge out of the New York Giants, offensive lineman Brady Christensen coming from the Carolina Panthers, and quarterback Kyle Trask from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So this is more the encompassing design that I have for the Jaguars. I expect for them to be very, very active. I expect for there to be at least 5+ free agency additions. I expect for them to be aggressive from what we've heard from Gladstone and from Cohen. I don't expect them to necessarily be the most explosive spenders in the market, but I do expect for them to be aggressive, to land key starters, and to also add guys that will kind of allow for them to get stopgaps to where it's not a necessary need to address immediately in the draft, but to also be able to maneuver and attack the positions in the draft that they want to. So this gives us the best platform to go BPA without overspending at multiple positions, but also getting key starters for the long term and getting a lot of second contract guys, which you'll see in this mock. So starting off with free safety Trevon Moehrig, I have them signing him to a 15 million per year deal at 4 years with 25% guaranteed. At a 40% cap hit, you're looking at about a $4 million cap hit. So this is going to be your free safety. This is going to be your back end guy. This is going to be the ball hawk that they've been looking for, potentially from an Andre Cisco. You move on from Cisco, allow for him to potentially move on to a contender or to a team that's ready to develop him. I think Moehrig was the better prospect coming out of the same draft class. I do view both of them as ball hawk safeties, more free safety position. But Moehrig has a little bit more versatility. We saw Cisco try to play more in the box this past season, and he completely struggled. I think Moehrig is more equipped to be more of a versatile safety. He doesn't rack up the same amount of pass deflections as Cisco, but he's a much better tackler. So I think Moehrig is hitting his peak. He's coming off of a career year this past season with the Raiders, and he's hitting his stride going into his second contract. While Cisco is more so on the downtread and needs a fresh start in another place. I think Moehrig has the potential to be a potential Pro Bowler, and I think for this reason enough, he deserves this type of contract. And I think getting this type of guy on a second contract could be a big win for the Jaguars. Next, I have them signing cornerback Paulson Adebo out of New Orleans Saints. Here, I have him kind of getting a lower end of the cornerback market, which will be a very competitive market this free agency with guys like Carlton Davis and DJ Reed at the top of the market. They're going to command 16, 17, maybe even 18 million from what I've heard. Getting Adebo at an 11.5 million per year number is a steal, in my opinion. You'll get him on a 4-year deal and get him at a 30% guarantee rate. Adebo is one of the premier young guys that's able to not only get pass deflections, but also get interceptions and takeaways. And you'll see here that I grabbed 2 guys that are going to help you get takeaways and be playmakers on the back end in your secondary, which we didn't have a takeaway until I believe week 6, week 7 this past season. You need playmakers. And they've talked about getting savages. They've talked about getting playmakers in the secondary, and they'll be aggressive on that front from what we've heard. I think they set the market here on the lower end with Adebo, And you'll see guys like Carlton Davis and DJ Reed end up with 17, 18 million per year contracts. Adebo would be your starting outside corner opposite of Campbell, and I think Adebo would be a day one impact. Also, second year contract guy alongside Morig. This will be a continued trend, and I think this is the way that Gladstone will value free agency in this period. I think we're going to see a lot of guys get a lot of second contracts here, and I think that will be the trend going forward, as this is the proper way to approach free agency. Next, we have them signing the edge Azeez Ojulari for 7.6 million per year for a 3-year deal at 20% guaranteed. Azeez is possibly the best designated pass rusher in this free agency class, with a deep edge class in free agency, might I say. We just saw Zadarius Smith get released by the Lions, so that adds another prospective pass rusher. But this team needs that DPR. They need a guy that can really give Josh Hines Allen and Travon Walker, respectively, a breath to also, take a moment on the sideline and then come back for a crucial down. Azeez is not known as the best run defender, but I think if you're looking for that guy that's going to create instant pressure and be able to move alongside the line of scrimmage, whether you want to move Travon inside out and play these three guys all at once, that could be really fun. But we've been missing this third pass rusher since Arden Key's departure to the Tennessee Titans. And I think Azeez has the potential to really shine in this role and be the guy that, we wanted Arden Key to be. We missed out on Calais Campbell last offseason. So I think they're going to really address the position here after self-scouting. And Ojulari could be a very, very elite option at this point. Another second contract guy, may I remind you. Next, we have Kyle Trask, another second contract type guy at the quarterback position. Coming from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he understands Liam Cohen's offense, and he has an understanding of the concepts and would be able to help Trevor Lawrence really articulate the style of the playbook and also help him in game with adjusting to the scheme. This will be his fourth offensive coordinator as far as a play caller in 5 years. So I think you have to give him someone that has some familiarity. Although Trask does not have a ton of playing time on the field in the NFL, he does have an understanding of Cohen's offense, like I said, and he's coming at a very cheap price at $2 million per year. I think you give him a 3-year deal at 25% guaranteed, and I think Trask would be either QB2 or QB3, depending on if they draft a guy as well. I think he'll be a serviceable option, and I think he gives you another practice squad guy if you want to just keep him in the fold. But to me, you need 3 QBs in this league right now with the amount of QB injuries that we're seeing. I think Trask would be a very good option at QB2 or 3. Next, I have potentially one of the better signings that you'll possibly see this offseason, whether he comes to Jacksonville or not, in Bobby Brown III, the defensive tackle out of the Los Angeles Rams. I see projections that he's going to be at a $8 million per year price tag. I have us signing him on a 3-year deal with 20% guaranteed. I think Bobby Brown III has the potential to be a very, very versatile defensive lineman here in Jacksonville. I think he's able to play the run very well. We saw him play that role, playing about 42% of the snaps for the Rams. They mainly used him as just a run stuffer, but he has some pass versatility as well. So he can get to the passer. He showed that in his college tape. And I know why the Rams kind of more so used him in that role, but he can excel as a pass rusher as well. So getting him at this $8 million per year price tag gives you another second contract guy with upside. And you haven't really seen him on the NFL level rush the passer, but you can designate him as this. So getting him and Azeez gives you some more depth. It gives you some more up front. It gives you more pass rush. And Bobby Brown, like I said, is one of the premier run stoppers in this league. So you don't have a weakness there in signing him. You have the pass rush upside. He'll improve the run defense. At one point, we were 10th in the league at run stops, but as the season continued, we ended up near the bottom half of the league. So this gives you not only the depth, but also he could be DT1. We have Eric Armstead, we have Mason Smith, we have Devon Hamilton, but nobody has really shown that they're the guy on the interior this past season. With Eric moving back to the inside, we could see him be that guy again. Could be an all-pro season, but I think here you want to address the position with one of your guys and not one of Balky's guys. And I think Bobby Brown the third, coming from that Los Angeles Rams connection with Gladstone, I think they'll be able to find some commonality, and Gladstone will be able to promise him a bigger role here in Jacksonville and working alongside Mason Smith for the long term. So Bobby Brown the third, another second contract guy. So far, that's five second contract guys. So you'll see the trend here. The trend stops here, though. We're moving on to Justin Skule, the swing tackle coming out of Tampa Bay. I have him here signing for a 2.9 million per year contract, a 3-year deal, 25% guaranteed. This guy is one of the better swing tackles in the NFL. He's able to play spot minutes at right tackle if you need him to, but he also can play the left tackle position. Once again, this is a guy that understands Liam Cohen's offense, his blocking scheme, and what the approach is. So him coming into free agency, I've seen guys like Ben Bredesen also mentioned as potential signings, but I think here you'll get Skule signing as the swing tackle, which is possibly a big need for us with only Javon Foster and Cole Van Lannon currently slated to be the backup tackles. You have to get a guy with experience here, in my opinion. Having Walker Little and Anton Harrison as your guys, as the tackles of the future. They're still younger guys. Walker Little does not have the most experience, and Walker Little also has an injury history. We have seen Harrison leave the game a couple times this past season. So if you want somebody that can really step in and play a role and be able to cement that backup tackle position, I think Skule is your answer. And he provides great depth, a lot of experience, and he knows Liam Cohen, like I said before. So back to back, we're going to address the offensive line again. Another guy that provides excellent depth. I think he provides, some similar to a Patrick McCarry of the Ravens. And obviously, McCarry might be priced out for this team. I think you can get a Brady Christensen for a low rate. I think he has the experience that you're looking for. He could potentially be your starting right guard, depending on if you want to address it in the draft, which I think they should, whether they sign him or not. And this guy has experience at the tackle, guard, and center position. So you're looking at a guy that's played all five offensive line positions, sometimes in a single season. This is a guy that you want on your roster. He's a competent player. He's a quality starter when asked to be, and he can step in any role that you ask him to. You don't really see too many Swiss Army knife offensive linemen in the league. He has the athleticism and the intellect, the experience to play all five positions. So if anybody on the line were to get hurt, you have a guy that can step in, or he can be your long-term starter for the next 2-3 years at the right guard position. Brady Christensen also has a connection to our latest offensive line coach addition, the assistant offensive lineman that just came in. I want to say last name is Suamato. So having that connection to our assistant offensive line coach could sway him to look Jacksonville's way. That's why I kind of have it leaning this way. But getting him at this price tag could be a bargain. So if you get him on a $2.3 million deal at 2 years, 20% guaranteed, this is a guy that could plug gap and be your stopgap and train the guys that you want to come in on the interior, whether it be at the center or guard position. And if you want to play him at center, you can. You have a need at center and guard. So if Fortner is not the answer, whether he gets cut this offseason or not, I think if you draft a guy at center and guard, if you want them to be the starters year one, you got a quality backup either way at $2.3 million price tag. So Christensen is a great option for me. I think this is one of the easier things to mock. I think he will be one of the first signings. If we were to say who the first signing is initially, I would put my money on Adebo. But I think Christensen will be one of those first signings for the Jaguars. I think it makes too much sense. I think he gets an opportunity to start, if not be the sixth offensive lineman, and wonderful depth for a great contract. Last, we have the big money maker here. This is a lot of talk of the chatter. I've heard a lot of people say that we could end up trading for him, whether it be a fourth, fifth, sixth round pick. Cooper Kupp. coming from the Los Angeles Rams. Snead has a great working relationship with Gladstone. I think either you trade for him, whether it's a fifth or sixth round pick, you have plenty of those in my opinion. Cup coming in on a 17 million per year deal at 2 years, 25% guaranteed if released is a steal in my opinion. You're not making a really long term commitment. You have a healthy cap situation this offseason and next offseason. And Cup to me is worth it. You know, former Triple Crown wide receiver, Super Bowl MVP. He provides a lot of experience to the locker room, whether it be the wide receiver room or the offense. And he's a chain mover. I mean, this is a guy that can finish in the red zone. He can get you that crucial third and fourth, can run those outbreaking routes, and he can also get vertical. So this is a guy that I see playing the slot position permanently for the Jags for 2, 3 years. And this is a guy that'll really up Brian Thomas Jr.'s game because you won't be able to double team him as frequently. So you won't be able to play those double bracket coverages that Doug Peterson tried to use as excuses this past season. And Cup will be able to provide you with a lot of premium at the position. So I've seen people talk about $23 million price tags, 25. I don't think the market will command that, and I think 17 million will more so likely be the base salary. We see him with a 19.28 base salary currently, also with a 20 million base salary for next season. So I think 17 million, if released, is a good base salary, and you can stack on incentives. You can stack workout bonuses. I've seen a lot of people talk about the injury history. You can stack in incentive for that. There's plenty of ways to fluff the contract and bring the value of it up to where the player feels respected, but also to where you kind of give some insurance for the team if he doesn't perform the way you expect him to, or if he doesn't stay healthy the way you expect him to. And with a 2 year deal, you could make it a 1 year out. So this to me is a great fit. I think he fits what Cohen will want to do in the slot. I think you could look at a Godwin, but that ankle injury really scares me. Obviously, Cup's injury history can be a little scary as well, but I think Cup is able to bounce back. He's fully healthy currently. Godwin is not. So I think that's the difference here. But I mean, just let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you would prefer Godwin, let me know. We can always talk about what the contract expectation would be for Godwin is. I think currently it would be in that 22 to 25 range. The highest would probably be 27 million. So if you want to pay a guy 27 million, I think you go out there and get DK Metcalf. And that's, talk for another video. But I think Cooper Cup at 17 million base salary would be a phenomenal deal. And obviously the cap hit would be lower. So I think this is a really good free agency class. You're working with 60 million in cap. The cap hits are going to be lower, but you're also signing three guys to 2 million per year deals. The only big free agent money that you're really shelling out is Morig and Cup. Those are the only deals that are over 12 million. This is a really good free agency and allows for you to go BPA in the draft. And I'll follow up this video with a mock draft that will align with this free agency video. So stay tuned for that. You should see that video in the coming days. And let me know what you think about this free agency class. If you have any other expectations, you can comment below. Make sure to like and subscribe. And let me know who you expect the Jaguars to sign on day one of free agency. Go Jaguars.